Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Ukrainian show on Pod TV. My name is Sasha Star, and today's our guests are Dr. Jonathan Lockwood. Welcome to the show, Jonathan.
Thank you, Sasha. Glad to be here as always.
Thank you so much, and it's our pleasure always. And Ivan Kucherenko from Kyiv, Ukraine. Welcome to the show, Ivan.
Hello, Sasha. Hello, Jonathan. Hello to everyone. Glad to be here today.
So, believe it or not, the famous meeting at the Oval Office in White House started as soon as we finished our program.
Yeah, that was awkward. That was awkward timing.
It was sometime we had to wait until today.
We thought everything was going great, and all of a sudden, kaboom!
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about it, but in the meantime, things are developing so fast that whatever you discussed, what was the relevant news half an hour ago, in 15 minutes it's becoming no longer relevant. It's in fact nothing. So in this case, I would like to ask Ivan, what's the latest on this great rare earth mineral deal? Is it already reached valuation of $1 or $5 trillion? What's the story now?
President Zelensky just made a post on social media where he announced that Ukraine is ready to continue with this mineral deal and to sign it with the United States, and also we are ready to make a peace agreement with Russia if Russia will ready to do so, and the United States will assist in it. So despite all those battles and all those news coming with a really great speed, hopefully diplomats are doing their job, and we will move in the direction of the peace with in this unprovoked war. But it's very important that all sides should operate facts but not fakes in their speeches, especially when these speeches probably can be used to provoke their opponent to some reactions or to make Ukrainians looking like unpleasant towards United States and America, that we are not thankful for the support, and we are not grateful for the help of the United States of any other countries which are really assisting great to Ukraine in defending against Russia. And I've got a really nice video which I just want to watch with you right now together, and we can continue our discussion after that.
Я вдячний Сполученим Штатам за схвалення нового пакету підтримки України.
Я вдячний народу Америки, всім нашим друзям в Конгресі, адміністрації за цю підтримку.
I just want to thank for your support and support first of all for people.
Ми поважаємо все, що Сполучені Штати Америки роблять для України. Хочемо подякувати за підтримку двопалатну, двопартійну, підтримку суспільства Сполучених Штатів Америки.
Thank you for your support, every American citizen. Please know that you support not just a country or its leader, you support millions of people who, like you, cherish freedom. Special thanks to the many American veterans who have volunteered to fight in Ukraine, and to the American people for the amazing support you have given Ukraine. All my appreciations. From my heart, from the hearts of Ukrainians. I want to thank you, all of you. I thank every American family. Thanks to President Biden, and I thank you all.
Thank you very much to you, to Congress, my partisan support, to White House, to President.
We, Ukrainians, will always be grateful to the US and every American for an extraordinary support. And there is not a soul in Ukraine that does not feel gratitude to you, America. Thanks to Secretary Austin, Chairman Brown, Secretary Del Toro, and Secretary Wormuth for all your invaluable support to the Ukrainian Navy and Army. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here and personally thank you and tell you what we've achieved together, defending life and freedom. Thank you very much. Mr. President, thank you very much for your supporting us.
We're thankful for President, his administration, Congress, bipartisan, of course, support.
Я вдячний кожному в Сполучених Штатах.
Дякую особисто спікеру Майку Джонсону, усім американським серцям.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. First of all, thank you so much for your significant support, your administration. We are very thankful from all Ukrainians to your military support, financial support, humanitarian one. Mr. President, thank you, your team. I would also like to thank the United States Congress for their support, both parties, both chambers. Thank you, and thanks to every American heart that does not betray freedom and supports us.
Дякую тобі, Америка.
Mr. McConnell, I'm grateful for your firmness in defending freedom and for your visits to Ukraine to see how important it is to win now. I'm grateful to all Americans for their vital and your strong support. I thanked America, all our friends in America and all Americans who support Ukraine, our people, our freedom, our independence in this terrible war started by Russia. Mr. President, thank you for your strong support for the decision that are helping us protect Ukrainians, our whole. We deeply appreciate that Ukraine and America have stood side by side from the very first moments of this terrible Russian invasion. And we are grateful to America for supporting Ukraine. Я дякую всім американцям
За це вдячний пану секретарю і вдячний президенту Трампу.
Я вдячний президенту за щирий інтерес до наших спільних можливостей, до того, як ми можемо разом наблизити справжній мир. Дякую усім в Америці за двопартійну підтримку.
That's a very well done and very well documented record of support.
Yeah.
I'm scared of this video. He thanks Biden. He thanks American people. And nowhere he thanked Trump and J.D. Vance. And he didn't thank Elon Musk and Marco Rubio and all these people. Never even once. I would remove this video and I would start every day in the morning going on Chrestiatic and say, thank you, Mr. Trump. Thank you, Mr. J.D. Vance. Every morning from 7 o'clock in the morning, then 10 o'clock in the morning, then 1 o'clock and until midnight. That's what Zelensky has to do now, because otherwise it's all futile.
I would say,
yeah.
yeah, I don't think he has to go quite that far, but he does. But I would agree that diplomatically speaking, that he does have to make a visible gesture, a visible sign that, yes, he does in fact appreciate and he is willing to make the deal. Because the difference here is a slight one of emphasis. I've heard other analysts remark that what the United States wants to do is have the deal made first with an implied security guarantee in order to protect their economic interest. Whereas Zelensky says he wants the visible, tangible security guarantee right up front. And then, of course, naturally, that all the rest follows. It's a difference in emphasis, not an absolute yes or no, we will or will not support you. So right now, it is just a matter of cleaning up the diplomatic faux pas, the diplomatic errors, misunderstandings, and then get the deal in place, and then the Europeans can come in and also establish a presence in Ukraine, a peacekeeping force. All of those things can follow once the deal is made, and once the United States is sure that it has the foundation for a deal. Now, of course, they are going to recognize sooner or later. I think some of it, Trump advisors are recognizing that Russia may not necessarily be interested in a deal. They are interested in continued war and confrontation. And fortunately for Ukraine and the United States and Europe, the Russian ability to continue its offensive at the levels it has been visibly decreasing. And President Trump is setting in place, by increasing the United States energy supply and production and thus drive down oil prices, that has an indirect yet very tangible effect on Russia's ability to continue to finance the war in the future months. So there are still hopeful signs that even if we do not get Russia to formally sit down and agree to at least an armistice, that the sheer weight of negative factors weighing against Russia right now the Russian offensive, such as it is going to grind to a complete halt. And so you're going to have a de facto ceasefire because the Russians simply won't be able to continue their offensive. And as I've mentioned on previous programs, Ukraine still has, nobody talks about it. You notice nobody talks about it because Ukraine has the ability, as it has throughout this war, the ability to inflict and undertake a surprise counteroffensive. They have already done some minor tactical counteroffensives on the eastern part of the front. And I still insist that at some point, Ukraine will play what I consider to be its ultimate move, a operational counteroffensive that seals off Crimea and that will be the decisive battle.
Thank you, Jonathan. Great words, actually, and I agree with you. And I just wanted to thank you as well, you and Sasha. It's almost 3 years as I've been with Sasha on this show, and it's a great opportunity for me to help spread real information about what is going in Ukraine, thanks to your help. Sorry, I'm not wearing a suit, actually, but I think it's okay in our honorable company to be not in the official dress code.
Actually, I've heard the story that in one of the Ukrainian city, which was completely destroyed, there were nothing but ruins, and few men wear costumes and ties, and they are being photographed on the image of this horrible ruins. And that's a point. In this condition, anybody in Ukraine would be wearing a suit and a tie unless you are a foreigner or one of the Ukrainian Duma deputies there or so on. But I'd like to, the more I think about all the situation, I don't want to go into the nature of the skirmishes between Zelensky and these horrible attacks from Trump and J.D. Vance. I don't even understand, sometimes there is a widespread belief that it was all engineered and prepared and agreed by Trump and J.D. Vance and their team. I don't want to go to that conclusion. It's
I don't either. I have a feeling. I feel this was a an unfortunate misperception of the moment, a momentary misunderstanding. Said, "Wait, hey, what's this? What is he doing, or what is he saying?" So, yeah, people tend to overreact at times. It happens everywhere.
okay, John. A few small details could prove this point, but again, I'm not
Yeah.
100% convinced. For example, when he just arrived and get out of the car, and Trump saying, "Oh, you're all dressed up today." What is that remark was supposed to do? But okay, let's agree that it was a joke. Maybe not the best joke of Donald Trump, but still. Okay, let's move a little bit further. So the meeting, it hasn't even started yet, as that journalist, the boyfriend of Marjorie Taylor Greene, actually a few people knew that she is divorced. So a lot of people in Ukrainian and Russian blogosphere, they were saying, "Wait a minute, she's married and that's her boyfriend. How does it work?" So people are saying, "Well, it's a modern American family. What's the problem?" Anyway,
This kind of Sasha. This kind of reminds me of during the days of the Cold War, when American intelligence people, a group of people, we call them Kremlinologists. They would make a practice of looking at the positioning of all of the people in the Politburo and where they were standing relative to Brezhnev or relative to whoever the leader was at the time, to try to determine what the political standing of each of those people was.
that's all people in Russia followed that, and Ukraine
Yeah.
just as well. Because I was in Odessa, and we were studying the next day after the great meeting of Central Committee of Communist Party of USSR. We were studying. Okay, here is a Brezhnev. So who is on the left? Who is on the right? Who is next in line? Who is next?
Yeah.
So Kremlinologists.
Kremlinology, that's what it was
Yeah,
called. Yep.
they were quite popular around the world, not just in the United States or Russia. Now, the second meeting started, and this, okay, boyfriend, maybe future husband of Marjorie Taylor Greene, he is, if Trump was almost joking and his tone was very easily to interpret as a joke. Now this creature, whatever what's his name, he was extremely aggressive, addressing Zelensky. Is that what, you don't have a normal suit? Is that how you coming dressed to White House? And all that stuff. Zelensky was still collected and composed, and he says, I have suits and I will be wearing them as soon as the war will be over. And maybe I will wear something what you're wearing today, or maybe better, or maybe worse. So he was still restrained, but the matter of this idiot asking questions, this is to show, to irritate Zelensky, to belittle Zelensky. That was the purpose, and nobody stopped him. So this is why these details tell me that it was all prearranged. Because if it's not, why this idiot was asking questions about the dress of Mr. Zelensky? So I have my reasons to believe. I'm not 100% convinced, but I do have reasons to believe. Why I don't keep this at 100% levels, and it was all prearranged? Because what Trump and J.D. Vance, what kind of mileage they could get out of this disruption. The deal was not signed, but it could be said that, okay, so it wasn't signed today, it will be signed in a few days, in a week time, doesn't matter. But we had opportunity to show American people what kind of leader so-called Zelensky is. It's impossible to work with him and so on, and he is a reason why the deal was derailed. Also, what I've learned that a day before that meeting in White House, there was a meeting between US and Russian delegation, I believe in Turkey, and nothing happened, period, on this meeting. So now, when Trump feels that his deal with Putin is not as feasible as before and maybe not even possible, so Trump wanted to find a scapegoat while all this being derailed, and Zelensky proved to be a very convenient target. Jonathan, do you think that makes
That is a plausible explanation. Yeah, President Trump may have been confronted with the reality of Russian intransigence. That Russia is not interested in compromise in the same sense that America would be interested in compromise, because as we've discussed before, the Russians consider compromise to be mutual surrender, and the
yes?
Russians they put a negative spin on that type of compromise, and they look at compromise as a sign of weakness. A willingness to compromise is weakness. It's an extension of what Winston Churchill once said, that there is nothing that the Russians admire more than strength, and nothing that they have more contempt for than weakness, particularly military weakness. Playing off of that, that's interesting.
Jonathan,
Yeah, go ahead. Yes.
just a very quick question. Didn't Russian learn in physics and mathematics that two negatives create one positive?
Well, yes.
So why they wouldn't apply this principle to double negatives?
No. Yeah. You would hope that would be their logical conclusion, but unfortunately not.
It's well
And-
beyond their.
Instead, it results in their concept of security known as bezopasnost, without danger. In other words, in order for them to feel secure, all of its neighbors must be made to feel insecure at best, and preferably subservient, controlled. And so there is no sign of this really from the Russian perspective. That they may pretend that, the United States is coming around to our side. Not in the least. We are not coming around to their side. We are not interested in dividing up the world with them. And it's certainly not. We have President Trump has, from his perspective, he wants to strengthen the United States. He wants to correct all the economic distortions and other things. And it's a very admittedly unorthodox, potentially very innovative approach. But in order for that to succeed, he has to, with his adversaries, it is apparent that the Trump administration is seeing China as the greater threat, which, again, there's a good argument to be made for that. But there are ways to deal, as I've also discussed, there are ways that the Trump administration could deal very effectively and asymmetrically with that threat by building up the Space Force and doing things to create a worldwide strategic defense matrix, things that the other side does not expect. They expect that what the Biden administration was doing, which was continuing to build up our nuclear arsenals and preparing to engage with 3 nuclear armed adversaries, which is what the Biden administration's last doctrine was before President Trump was reelected. So there are a host of factors that need to be considered here, and some of them apparently very conflicting. So what we have to do here is, I'm sort of personally waiting for the smoke to clear. I am projecting, and as are some other analysts, that Ukraine will, behind the scenes, diplomatically say, "Oh yes, okay, we're ready to come and make a deal," so that the United States and its European allies can, in fact, play their role in securing Ukraine's military effectiveness for the intermediate to long-term future. So it's still very complicated, but a slight disagreement with what President Trump said, where he told Zelensky, "You have no cards to play." Well, I would say he's probably got one really good card to play, and that's that counteroffensive.
Yes, Jonathan, I agree with you. I'd like to point, though, that about the deal itself. So provided that there would be no skirmishes at the White House and the J.D. Vance would keep his mouth shut, quite possible that the deal would have been signed on Friday. Now, specifics of the deal is, so they're talking about rare earth metals and the creation of investment fund which will be run by United States. And Ukraine would still retain 50% of its mineral wealth. And it was not tied to any continued support of United States financial and military, any help, even if it's Europeans who would agree to put their troops on the ground to be as guarantors of future peace between Russia and Ukraine. United States even didn't suggest that they not only will participate in that force, but even support that force, maybe by intelligence or any other means. No. So essentially what's happened is that US has no obligations to help Ukraine now, in the future, or with the force, European force, which would guarantee the peace. So actually, US didn't give anything for grabbing 50% of natural resources of Ukraine. It did not provide anything, either in writing or even mentioning. The Trump, one thing what he did mention is, though, that because it's my signing on the deal, nobody in the world would ever even think of attacking Ukraine while they know that our people are on the ground.
Well, that
Wait a second, I'll just finish. I know from my business experience, it will take 5 years to do sampling, to do the development of technology requires, to feasibility study. So there will be no American man on the ground for the next 5 years and probably much longer. So then there is no deterrence to Russians' attack, especially once Trump will be out of power. There is no deterrence for Russians to attack Ukraine, even with the signing of that bloody deal. Now, if it wouldn't be for these considerations, then for Ukraine to sign this deal is no brainer, because they give 50% of nothing. There is nothing and will never be anything. All world market for rare earth minerals is $11 billion, which is 80% locked by China. And there are a few other countries that have these minerals. Ukraine has next to zero. They have something, but it's next to zero. So for them, signing this agreement is not even a thing. It's a no-brainer. Where is a paper? Sign it in 5 seconds and the end of story. But that's not what Zelensky or Ukraine need. They need security guarantees, or at least, if not full security guarantees, which is most likely impossible, even if Trump wanted to provide one. But at least some understanding, something to tie up these two things, one which will go minimum 5 years from implementation and probably much longer. And Trump will be not in power anyway at that moment. So it's becoming irrelevant as well, because Russians will not attack Ukrainians according to Trump, because Trump is one who signed the deal. Not J.D. Vance, not Marco Rubio, no Elon Musk. It's Trump.
So essentially, what you're saying, Sasha, is the signing of the deal would buy Ukraine time 4 years. Yeah, at best.
At the best case.
At the best 4 years. A lot can, and as we have observed, a lot can happen in 4 years, particularly with European members of NATO who see their best interest in the defense of Ukraine and in establishing firm security guarantees.
Gentlemen, I just wanted to add that Ukraine unfortunately had experience of signing a deal with the United States without any specific security guarantees, and this deal was named Budapest Memorandum.
Yep.
According to that analytics I've got, the worth of Ukrainian nuclear arsenal was estimated from 200 billion to 300 billion dollars, US dollars, in that period. It was early
Much
90s.
more today.
Now probably it would be worth much more. And in exchange for that, Ukraine received $500 million from the United States on program to actually recycle those nuclear weapons and equipment, and $1.8 billion from Russia in terms of debt for the gas which Russia provided to Ukraine, and of course received security guarantees signed by the United States, Great Britain, and Russia.
But it wasn't Trump who signed Budapest deal.
Right.
It
That was
doesn't
Clinton.
apply to Trump.
Right.
But it
that
will
was
be
Clinton, yeah.
no Trump who will sign this mineral deal. This mineral deal will be signed by Marco Rubio or someone else probably, and it will be not Trump who will sign it. And what will be in 5 years when the Trump will be no president of the United States? There will be another president who will guarantee Ukraine. Without the problem is that without specific guarantees, it will not work. And we had experience of signing a deal. According to the Trump, it was a great deal for the United States, but not for Ukraine, because Ukraine gave all nuclear weapons and received nothing. $500 million from United States and some mythical security guarantees, which were worth nothing, actually.
Let me add something. First of all, the deal is not between Ukraine and United States. There will be some unspecific US companies, and not necessarily US companies, because in US there are not too many companies that have expertise in working with rare earth metals. So then the question of financing, which is much easier, because what they will create a fund where Musk and his cronies will participate, and they will make most likely a public company, and they will sell shares at $1 and will bring it up to $100 a share. So they will all make money even before a gram of these minerals will be extracted from Ukrainian soil. We know all this shtick, so I won't even discuss it any further. What I'd like to say is that Trump, having his experience in real estate developments and so on, he knows how to get into the deal without investing even one penny. He's always working with the other people's money. So the same here, he is extracting perceived, or many some cases in distant future, real potential of these properties without investing in a penny of US or his own money. That's his trademark. That's what he's doing. Good luck to him. And Ukraine is getting a hope for signing this deal. Hope that US will continue its support, because right now US stopped supporting Ukraine. No more weapons are coming from the United States. So even by signing the deal, if there are no other things attached to that deal, Ukraine will not get anything, even the weapons that were already agreed upon. And on its way to Ukraine, they stop all the weapons, not only sending new weapons, but even those are that are in transit to Ukraine. So essentially, I even don't understand what Ukraine should do at this moment. if it's refusing signing this deal, it's not getting its situation much worse than it already is. Really, what can be worse for Ukraine?
President Zelensky said that Ukraine is ready to sign this deal, but
Okay.
I just wanted to add that the only beneficiary of stop of the military help from the United States to Ukraine is Russia. That was Jonathan was saying about that.
Agreed.
United States is not, according to Jonathan, what you said, is not going to side with Russia. United States will support Ukraine, but now United States said that it's stopping the military help, even those which was transporting already on the ships and which was in transit in Poland, that all the military help from United States is stopped until Ukraine will sign the deal and
Not necessarily so.
until some conditions, and the real beneficiary of this is Russia. In Kremlin, they're already drinking champagne, they're drinking vodka, they are
They'll
sending.
They'll take any excuse to drink champagne and vodka. but
those shows Russia that they've seen already the consequences of stopping the military support from the United States. Unfortunately, it was very bad consequences last year when during that pause of providing help from the military states because of these discussions in Congress, we've lost territories, and it allowed Russia to increase their offensive attacks, and we've lost a lot of Ukrainian soldiers, a lot of people, lots of civilians when Russia struck Ukrainian cities. So who is the beneficiary of that? Are the United States beneficiary of that? Probably no, because they are making Russia be stronger. They are making those countries who understand that they can disorder the peace in the world. They can attack their neighbors. It shows that they can easily do it, and that United States will not support their allies, which actually were attacked, and they can stop military help at any time. So
I would like to add something very important. If you, Ivan and Jonathan, please, do you understand that signing of that deal, let's pretend that it will be signed today, which is technically possible, that doesn't stop the war. The Russians are continuing their attacks even more aggressively than ever before. Overnight, bombing Ukrainian cities, killing civilians. It's not stopped, and it's not even anywhere suggested that if Ukraine will sign that deal, the fighting has stopped. Where did you get any idea of that? Did Russian ever say, okay, let Ukrainians sign the deal and we will stop our attacks?
And they've made no such indication.
There is no such indication. Even Donald Trump could not suggest such an idea that, okay, you, Zelensky, sign the deal and the fighting is over. No one said in Europe or in the United States or in Russia or in China or Japan or Australia. Nobody ever suggested. So then the only plausible suggestion for Ukraine go ahead and sign it is that it's not worsening its position. So it will continue. The United States will stop help, which already did, or it may not resume help, which is quite possible. But there is no worst case scenario that if you would not sign the deal, then you would get something from somewhere. There is not case. So in this case, forget about this J.D. Vance remarks and all that stuff. You just go ahead, sign the deal. Don't apologize for anything. There is no apologies required. Sign the bloody deal and continue to hit the Russian the oil refineries in Ufa, 100 and 500 kilometers from the Ukraine. They completely destroyed the refinery in Ufa. They they also liquidated the FSB post in Bryansk region, Ivan. Have you heard about that? No? Yeah.
No, not yet.
Yesterday on YouTube, one of the channels, that they've destroyed. It's a small, basically a border region between Ukraine and Bryansk region. There was a small contingent of FSB, probably a border
Yeah,
control or something. So they completely destroyed. It's not a big deal, mind you, but still, nice to know.
Russia actually each day they shows that their defense is weak. Ukrainian drones and every morning I see I'm drinking a coffee in the morning and I see those really amazing videos of Russian oil refineries exploding after the successful Ukrainian drones attacks. And what is great that those drones are 100% made in Ukraine.
Yep.
They are not shipped to Ukraine by United States, by China, by European country. They're made here in Ukraine, and now even majority of the components for those drones, like their engines, for instance, are produced in Ukraine, and this is great because Ukraine can use their own deadly technologies to inflict significant damage to Russia, to Russian economic objects, and it shows everyone in the world who is watching the not Russian propagandistic media, but who is watching actually those media which are broadcasting true information about what is happening in Ukraine, how Russia is weak. Hopefully, the team of President Trump, they will start not watching TikTok, but really watching media, or at last YouTube, where they can discover what Ukrainian forces are doing to Russian infrastructure, oil infrastructure, and Russian military objects, and they will think whether President Putin is so strong as he seems to be in their eyes, actually.
Jonathan, so the last question for you today. Is it possible that Ukraine, while having weapons lasting for several times, perhaps a year from now,
Okay.
all these peace agreements are stealing the Ukrainians' victory, that Russia is getting weaker and weaker, and in fact, the stopping the war helps Russian much more than Ukrainians. I don't think Ukrainians need peace at this moment when they have superiority, technological, will to fight, much more than Russians do.
Well, I agree with you there in that we have seen the trend in recent months of Russia steadily decreasing capacity to maintain an offensive against Ukrainian forces. They're still taking very high casualties. Their quality is not getting any better. We've seen recent stories of donkeys being used to deliver supplies. This is reminiscent of World War II, which is what Russia had. Their supply system was largely based on horse-drawn wagons when they had to confront the Nazis. And had it not been, ironically, for the United States supplying those Ford trucks, the Soviet army would never have been able to drive the Germans out of Russia. So what's interesting here is all the trends that we have been watching carefully is that the Ukrainians are continuing to inflict superior casualties on the Russians, continuing to inflict damage to their infrastructure, damage to their economy, and President Trump, by his indirect action of producing more energy and thus driving down the prices of oil, that is going to have an indirect effect, damaging effect on Russia's ability to continue to finance the war. So if current trends continue, if the military conflict continues, I project that Russia's offensive will grind to a complete halt. And it will grind to a complete halt, and that will set up the potential for Ukraine to play its one remaining real card, the decisive counteroffensive.
Especially considering incredible support what Ukraine and Zelensky got in Europe. And
Yes.
Zelensky meeting King of United Kingdom, and I think Europeans now understand that they cannot rely on U.S. defense, nuclear or otherwise, in a view of new U.S. administration. So they have to somehow to rebuild their strategic doctrine to rely more on themselves and helping Ukraine, regardless of what's happened with this rare earth deal or other stuff. The Europeans know beyond any reasonable doubts the vitality of Ukraine, the importance of Ukraine being defended for their own interest, not because they love Ukrainians, for their own good, for their own self-interest. So I think in the view of all that, we'll see how the things will develop. Perhaps Zelensky will sign this deal, or his people will sign without even him. As originally planned, it wasn't Zelensky who was supposed to sign. It was Stefanuk, I think, and somebody else, I don't remember. So we'll see how it will go, but I don't think that Ukrainian position and situation is much worse because of this Friday's skirmishes at the White House is now. Now we had a replic that's not spending billions. Well, you do spending millions. Where are you, Adam? You do spend when your country is attacked. You spend millions and trillions dollars to defend your country. Do you understand that? Thank you, Adam. Well,
well, Adam, you can ask Sasha. Well, Adam, Sasha, don't hold back. Tell us how you really feel.
For Adam, I just want to come back to what we discussed before: the wars of Ukrainian nuclear arsenal and the guarantees, security guarantees.
How come Zelensky never brought it up on Friday? The Budapest Memorandum. What's happened with his head?
There were no you, Sasha, for him to advise, unfortunately.
No, but in case when everything is collapsing, just go ahead and do the punches, okay?
The worth of the nuclear arsenal was $200 billion or $300 billion estimated, and United States is just paying debt. The United States had a choice to make whether to send American troops to actually accomplish the security guarantees by Budapest Memorandum, or to send military help. So it's not what the United States is paying for Ukraine or giving, and just to remember that the majority of those weapons are produced in the United States. The majority of those money stays in the United States. It's a great impact on American economy because it creates more and more job places on a United States factory, and all United States weapon manufacturers, they are pretty happy with this war and possibility to produce more and more weapons because United States are sending their old weapons, which were on the military warehouses, to Ukraine, and instead of that, they're getting new weapons produced new weapons from the factory. And what is more important, United States is getting a great intelligence data on how to participate in modern war, because all those previous tactics they become obsolete. all those Abrams tanks, which seemed so powerful, they actually appeared not so powerful in the war of drones, because each tank actually, Abrams, Challenger, Leopard, can be destroyed by a tiny drone, which is worth dozens times less than the worth of this tank. And this is actually invaluable experience and data which United States is getting from this war. It was not billions, it was trillions of dollars, because when United States will have to join the war, and actually at one time they will have to join the war, because unfortunately the world is going to the next big war, whether it will be a war with China, with Russia, with the alliance of Russia, Iran, China, and North Korea probably, and Donald Trump will not be able to to get Russia back from China or from North Korea or from Iran. They already made an alliance. They made an alliance against the
They
Western
can only
culture.
join the alliance. Okay, they can
Yeah,
join the
probably
alliance.
United States can join the alliance. Say, okay, you get Ukraine, Iran. Okay, you get Israeli. And we will get Greenlandia, for instance. We will get Greenlandia. We will get Mexico. We will get Panama Channel. So
Again, Adam, Ukraine has no need to join NATO. The NATO is organization of the past. As long as US was willing to provide the guarantees to all European members of NATO, and obviously United States is not ready to provide the guarantees anymore, there is no need for NATO. There is a need for a new organization of the willing countries to participate with Ukraine. Ukraine is number one, not France, not UK. Ukraine, number one. And around Ukraine, you can have the Great Britain, you can have France, Germany, Italy, Finland, Sweden, Poland, and 3 Baltic republics as the minimum. Maybe Czech Republic, maybe some other countries. Very possible. But know that even Switzerland, which was neutral for the last hundreds of years, they now helping Ukraine as well. Okay, that's incredible news that I've never seen before. To summarize, I would think that with deal, actually I feel that if deal will be signed, it has to be signed today in next few hours because of the Trump's address of joint powers in Congress today. So he has to brag about the deal and show the piece of paper, and if it's going to be signed only tomorrow, I don't know how this deal is valuable for Trump. I'm not sure at all. So Ukraine, if they want to sign the deal and get some mileage out of it, as minimal as it might be, but sign and hurry up and sign it today in next about 5 hours or so. Go ahead. You're not sleeping in Ukraine already for a few hours. Trump he's woke up. He already played golf. So he's ready to see. Let's do that. Ukraine, sign the deal. It's irrelevant you sign it or not. The fight goes on. You can win this war on the front line, not signing deals with Trump. Please understand that, dear Ukrainians. I really beg you. Fight, fight, fight. Let's Trump drill, baby, drill. And you will
let President Trump do his part, and it will indirectly contribute to an eventual Ukrainian victory. And the United States, for its part, I insist it's still in process. Their strategic doctrine, and let alone their grand strategy, is still very much a work in progress. They're going to be learning lessons from this experience, as well as from emerging technologies and emerging economic realities. They're going to be in the process of crafting a new grand strategy. They will have to. They have no choice.
Jonathan, do you remember what Winston Churchill said about Americans? Americans always find the right way. until they tried all the wrong ways.
After
Right.
after
After
if-
trying all the wrong
Well, also, I believe it was one of the German field marshals once said that during World War II that no one is worse in his first battle than an American soldier, but no one learns more between his first battle and his second battle than an American soldier.
That's true. It all comes with experience. Okay, guys, thank you so much for today's program. I think we covered everything. And, before our next program on Friday, that so many things may happen before Friday. So I'm always think, oh my God, this happened. Now I was completely wrong about this, and I was right about this. And now what I'm going to do on Friday? And Friday, 11 o'clock is a program, and 10:30 something else happening.
Well, we're all going to be adjusting between now and Friday, depending upon what President Trump says in his address and the reaction to it.
That's true.
And as like I said before, if you don't like what President Trump is saying, just wait 10 minutes.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Gentlemen, thank you very, very much again. I will see you on Friday. Same place, same time. Ivan, maybe you will be able to make it. Would be great. And what can I say? Slava Ukraini. That's it.
Героям слава. Thank you. Bye bye.
Glory to Ukraine. Bye bye, everybody.